What's going on, New York Giants fans? Welcome back to another video. If you guys haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on that notification button so you get notified when live stream pops video drops. Appreciate y'all. Thank you for coming back. Rookies reported to training camp on Wednesday. We are getting closer to everybody being at training camp. Preseason football is, I believe, 3 or less than 3 weeks away at this point. And I am so excited. It's going to be a fun ride, and I just can't wait till football season starts, no matter what the Yankees do, honestly. So in this video, I'm going to start a series. I tried doing it last year via article and YouTube form. Didn't really work out that well because I didn't get to everybody that I wanted to in terms of the roster bubble. I only did a projection. Obviously, you guys can go look at that. That was from a year ago when I was less known as a Giants-Yankees YouTuber. So, roster bubble series, who's on the roster bubble, how could they make it, how could they not make it, who's their competition, who could they beat, who could they not beat. That's basically going to be the format of this series. And candidate number 1 is an interesting candidate. That's Chad Slade. I remarked on him the last 2 years as a roster bubble candidate, 2019 especially, 2020 I don't know if I did or not, but whatever. So Chad Slade, let's go over it. 2015 and 2018 with the Houston Texans, more of a reserve lineman, backup offensive lineman. That's kind of what he's been most of his career. And then 2019 joined the Giants, 2020 as well. So he played one game in 2020, Week 9 versus the football team. He earned about 3 snaps in that rotational guard type of system. I don't know if anyone was injured on the play, but I think Joe Judge just wanted to get some guys in. I know Shane Lemieux and Zeitler were the guards, but also Will Hernandez had COVID, so they wanted to get a new pound of flesh in there. Chad Slade was that pound of flesh. On one of the snaps, he didn't really do well. I didn't watch the other 2 of the snaps in terms of tape, film, whatever. But he's obviously, once again, more of the reserve lineman type. And then in 2017, he allowed 2 sacks and 163 snaps for the Houston Texans. Obviously, once again, they're not known for good offensive linemen. They probably are not to this day. So, when Chad Slade came in 2019, obviously he was an underdog to make the roster. He competed with a lot of guys for tackle and guard. He is versatile at both positions. I remember he played both right guard and right tackle during the 2019 preseason. He split that with Victor Solacco. Just going off the top of my head, he played with the 2 squad. And then sometimes he would play with the 1 squad, sometimes he would play with the 3 squad. He made the roster with a couple other reserve linemen as well. 2020 was really a shock for me. He did make the practice squad. I don't think he made the roster in 2020 because of the 16-man practice squad. You could put veterans on there, but no matter the experience, if a guy was playing for 16 years, you could put him on the practice squad. But I think Chad Slade was on the practice squad. He was a protected guy for some of the weeks. That's why he didn't get a lot of games in 2020. With that being said, here's his competition for the preseason training camp, whatever you want to call it. You got Kenny Wiggins, who is a veteran guard, played for the Chargers, I believe, and he also played for the Lions. You got Matt Parrott, the right tackle, the 3rd-round pick out of UConn from 2020. You have Jake Burton, the UCLA guard and tackle. You have Nate Solder, who is obviously the veteran that Dave Gettleman spent $62 million on. That didn't really work out, but he is coming back this year. Jackson Barton, a waiver claim pickup from the Colts last year. He was a 7th-round pick of theirs in 2019. You got Zach Fulton, the veteran Texans guard. You have Shane Lemieux, the 5th-round pick from Oregon last year. You got Brett Hedgie, the center from the University of Florida. And you have Kyle Murphy. I forget where he went to college, but he was an undrafted free agent that actually made the roster. So he may be that dark horse Nick Gates kind of candidate for this year. I think it's going to be really interesting to see him play. I would really like to see him play because you didn't get to see him play in 2020. Training camp was closed off. That stuff, no preseason, so you could not see some of these guys play. Now, who can he beat and how can he make it? Well, obviously, number 1, in my opinion, is stay healthy. Chad Slade really hasn't had any injury problems that I know of over the last couple of years. And, there's been players over the last couple of years that haven't been healthy or get injured in the preseason, and then they go to IR, and what happens is they get cut midway through the season with an injury designation, and they go to another team. Scott Simonson was one of those guys I think Georgia Safo J was one of them, maybe, maybe not. There were a couple other guys as well. Chad Wheeler before all the stuff happened. So I definitely think, in terms of experience, he can beat Brett Hedgie, Kyle Murphy, Jackson Barton, Jake Burton, and Kenny Wiggins. I don't know how Wiggins plays. He hasn't really played in a couple of years. That's why I would kind of have Chad Slade beating him. I'd have to go back and watch the film. But Chad Slade, obviously, how can he make it? He needs to be healthy, and he needs to be versatile and good at both run blocking and pass blocking. He's likely with the number 2 squad in the preseason. Probably not the number 3 since he's been with the team the past 2 years. Just be versatile. You know, he can play both guard and tackle, but he's also 29 years old, so the Giants may elect to go with Kyle Murphy as a better option. That is definitely possible, as well as maybe Jake Burton, you know, kind of as a dark horse candidate to make the roster. Maybe Brett Hedgie makes it over him. Hedgie's more of a center, but he can play guard as well. So they have potential of beating Chad Slade for a roster spot, but Chad Slade can definitely beat these guys in terms of making a roster spot as well, because he has more experience than most of these guys combined. Kenny Wiggins, I think, as well, if I'm not mistaken. Now you take a look at who he may not beat and how he can lose. Well, obviously, if you're not staying healthy, that's how you lose. To note with that as well, obviously, if you're not good at pass blocking, you're not good at run blocking. You know, the 2 and 3 quarterbacks this year are going to be Mike Glennon and Clayton Thorson. I don't think they're going to sign another backup quarterback. They could, but it's unlikely since they only kept 2 backup quarterbacks last year. I think they stashed one on the practice squad, and he was gone a couple games into the season. That was Cooper Rush. But in terms of that, what I mean by that basically is he needs to protect whatever backup quarterback there is, whether it be Mike Glennon or Thorson. If he doesn't run block well for the backup running backs, whether that be Devontae Booker with the second team, or let's just say Sandra Plutzgummer, or Corey Clement, or Gary Brightwell, if he doesn't run block well, if he doesn't pass block well, especially pass block, I think he's gone. And also, if he's not healthy, he could be gone as well. You know, it's not even a cut standpoint. It's about, you know, if you're unhealthy and you get reverted to IR before the 53-man cut down, you're automatically done for the season. There's no question about that. And the only way you could come back for another team or come back for the Giants or whatever is you would have to cut the guy with an injury designation, and you would have to either re-sign him or another team picks him up and goes from there. Who he may not beat: Shane Lemieux, Zach Fulton, Matt Peart, and Nate Solder. Matt Peart, I think he's better than him, obviously, as a right tackle. Nate Solder, even though he is coming off a rest year, he has more years of experience, and I think, you know, obviously he wasn't in football shape last year. How could you be in that sort of situation? But I think Nate Solder, obviously, I'm not going to say he's going to return to Patriots form, but if he gives some solid play during the preseason at right tackle, or maybe the left tackle on the second team, wherever he plays, because that's going to be an interesting matchup. What's going to happen is that he's going to give solid play, or he could give solid play, and Chad Slade just gets kicked off the roster. Zach Fulton, he's had years of experience, I think almost 10 at this point. He's going into his 30s, but once again, experience, more experience is better. Chad Slade, obviously, has less experience in terms of games. You know, Fulton's been with the Chiefs and Texans starting almost every year, if I'm not mistaken. Chad Slade, once again, has been a reserve tackle, reserve guard. So if Fulton goes to a backup spot in week 1, it's, you know, it's fine because he has more game experience. If Shane Lemieux Hernandez gets benched or injured, then Fulton is a better piece to put in there than someone like Chad Slade. And then Shane Lemieux, obviously, favoritism would play more to this point, but I think Shane Lemieux would make progressions in the passing game, and if he doesn't, his running game sticks out in terms of run blocking. Chad Slade, I don't know that would happen in terms of the preseason, because that's where you would see him, not the regular season, because that's not what happens. With that being said, here's my projection for Chad Slade. I don't really like to do a lot of 53-man roster projections until the end of the preseason, but I give tidbits here and there, and I could change my opinion as well. I think Chad Slade is not going to make the roster this season. I think it's done for him. I don't know if we'll find another team. That's not my thing to predict, But I think you have a lot of young guys on this roster that could be favored over Chad Slade based on play and versatility. Kyle Murphy's definitely a guy like that. The four I just mentioned in Lemieux, Fulton, Parrott, and Solder. Jake Burton from UCLA, that could definitely be something. Brett Hedgie as well. All these guys have a chance to beat him, but also Chad Slade has a chance to beat some of those guys I mentioned in the beginning, the five guys. Hedgie, Murphy, Barton, Burton, and Wiggins. But once again, he does not match up with the solid play from the four guys. And I'm not saying Lemieux is solid, but once again, his run blocking outweighs Chad Slade's run blocking by a lot, probably. So that's my projection. That's my video. This is how videos are going to be in terms of roster bubble series. Hope you guys like it. If you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. Turn that notification bell so you get notified when a live stream pops, a video drops. Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for supporting the channel, and peace out.